So pre and post workout nutrition. It's probably one of the most kind of talked about topics when we come to kind of workout nutrition and training nutrition. So, post workout nutrition gets a lot of coverage in terms of what you should be eating, nutrient kind of timing, anabolic windows, and all that. And when we think about pre workout nutrition, it's often kind of like, right, well, what's like a pre-workout powder? Like, should I be taking a pre-workout, which is like, a stimulants and different kind of nutrients? But what we want to think about is the pre-workout nutrition being, what we actually eat pre-workout. So it could be a snack, a mini meal, or, something along those lines. And what we want you to do is think about when you have a competition or when you have like a really intense workout that you're kind of focusing on, like you've got to be fueling the fight. So carbs, easy to digest, kind of low fiber carbohydrates, they activate our sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight kind of nervous system. So this will help us to be in a state where we actually want to kind of rip the barbell off, we want to kind of push ourselves. Whereas if we have something that's maybe kind of like higher fiber, higher protein, slightly kind of slower digesting, then it's going to activate our parasympathetic nervous system. And this is our kind of rest and digest system. So, when we're going into workouts, this is the time that we actually want to kind of lower vegetables. We want to actually maybe kind of moderate our protein intake and increase our carbohydrates. So we don't want food going to be digesting when we're doing a burpee, or when we're doing a handstand push-up or anything like that. So playing around with a few options that are low to medium protein, higher in fast-acting, easy to digest carbohydrates, and maybe kind of low to medium fats with definitely low amounts of fibrous vegetables. Building a meal or a snack around that, like this is what we want you to be kind of focusing on going into kind of hard workouts. So this is how we build our training meals and training snacks. So you're not kind of thinking about, right, you're not asking the body to digest a lot of food, so a lot of the blood can then actually be utilized in the muscles, and you can actually use the food that you're eating as fuel. So, a lot of the time this is something that people don't quite kind of understand in terms of, especially when we go in competition days where you might have 4 workouts in a row. Like this is the time that we might not want to eat a load of vegetables, like in between workouts. It's purely because we don't want to be waiting to after the fight is done, after the workout is done, to be worrying about kind of refueling and taking a load of like carbohydrates and protein. Like, yes, I'm not saying that post-workout nutrition isn't important, but when we're thinking about CrossFit and we're thinking about performance, we've got to be aware that actually pre-workout nutrition could be a little bit more important. Especially if you're not going to be training for another 24 hours or 36 hours, like your body has enough time to repair and regenerate and replenish those energy levels. But going into workouts feeling underfueled is something that we often see with athletes. And then they say, I felt like I couldn't push, or my head wasn't there, or I just didn't feel I had the power output, or my legs were burning. Like, these are signs and symptoms that maybe you're not kind of eating enough pre-workout. So just play around with a few options, guys. See if you can, build some snacks around some kind of like low protein, low fiber, slightly higher carbohydrates, and kind of medium to low fats, and see if that kind of makes you feel a little bit better going into those workouts.